This episode brought to you by my business, American Annuity Funding. And a lot of the people that we work with fall in different kind of buckets, right?
Yep.
And one of those categories would be individuals that have been involved directly in some type of personal injury case.
Yeah.
So, what advice do you have for the people that have suffered some type of significant personal injury? Like,
Yeah.
I want your kind of advice on maybe the mindset that they need.
Yep.
I know we've discussed a lot of this already, but maybe you could
Yep.
elaborate specifically for them.
Yep.
The mindset that they need to get like on a good track and improve their life. Maybe recommendations, whether it's on rehab, training, diet, just going through that type of personal trauma and injury. How can they become the best version of themselves?
Yeah. Great question. And what you touched on first around the mindset, that has to come first, because if you have the mindset that, you're a victim and this happened to you and, you're stuck with this and this is just going to be your life, you're going to keep perpetuating that outcome. And so what I would tell you is look for proof out there, first of all, that people have recovered from some of these challenges that you're going through. There's proof of anything. People have had stage 4 cancer and overcome that. So there's proof everywhere that the challenge that you're going through right now, someone has walked before you and had the courage to overcome it. So that's the first thing. The second thing I think is having a solution-orientated mindset, meaning like a growth mindset, where you say to yourself, okay, I have this injury, I have this challenge, what can I do? Let's say like you massively jacked up your arm or shoulder or something, and you can't really do, much upper body exercises at all. You can walk, you can run, you can do so many things with your lower body, and vice versa. Like if you've jacked up your lower body, there's many things you can do with your upper body. So what I would tell you is that look for things that you can do. Stop focusing on the stuff you can't do. And what can you do? Can you walk? Can you do some type of movement that is not affected by the injury that you have? That's the first thing, because you do need to remember, you do need to be active. And I would tell you things like, obviously, like physical therapy, chiropractor, acupuncture, massage. Like I would say massage and acupuncture are very useful, medical massage. Because think about this, if you've got a lot of muscle tension and a lot of scar tissue, and you need to get blood flow into that area to like start accelerating that healing process. So things like sauna can be really useful. If you don't have a sauna, get a heating pack and literally every day stick that heating pack on that area that you've had the injury. You'll see it goes red. It's going red because it's pulling blood to that area. That blood's bringing oxygen. That oxygen is going to help speed up recovery. So that's obviously a very simple thing you can do. You can just sit and watch a documentary and do that. You don't have to be doing anything. Think about your nutrition as either something that is hindering cell recovery and cell turnover and cell healing, or accelerating it. So it's one or the other. And so like things like cold pressed juices, juice bars, and I tell people with your meals, ask yourself, is it foods with one ingredient? Like broccoli is just broccoli. Brown rice is just brown rice. As much as you can, add in as many foods with just one ingredient. So that eliminates a lot of the processed packaged things that create some degree of inflammation in your body. So if you're sick, like if you have a virus or a cold, or you have an injury, you want to accelerate healing through like juices, foods, like even go to Google and search healthy foods high in antioxidants, healthy foods high in anti-inflammatory compounds. And you'll find all kinds of stuff. Like we talked about ginger, turmeric, those types of things. There's supplements like glutathione. You could do a nutrient IV if you wanted. Like you get these mobile IV places. You can either go to an IV clinic, you can get an NAD IV, you could get a glutathione IV. Like those things help with mitochondrial function, cell turnover, all these types of things. I would say really, really, as much as you can, prioritize sleep. Sleep will accelerate your healing process. Now, if you're in pain where it's hindering your ability to function, what I would try and tell you is try to find less potent painkillers. So like think of things like, a good quality CBD, for instance.
Let's go right into that, because I was going to ask it, but you brought it up. So
yeah, Yep.
I noticed that a lot of people too, like they gravitate towards a painkiller. And I get it. If you're in a ton of
Yeah.
pain and
You just want something,
there's periods that
right?
you either need it or you need
Yeah.
some type of break from it. But
Yeah.
what alternatives would you suggest to, like, because you
Yeah.
yourself, you mentioned in the beginning of our conversation that there is
Hmm.
a lot of different types of prescriptions that you were taking for different reasons. And maybe
Yeah.
pain wasn't one of them,
Yeah.
but you yourself are proof that you can get off
Yeah.
self-medicating through prescription and do another tactic. So go
Yeah.
into that more.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, the first one is a good quality CBD. And again, there's so many different brands out there. It's just a matter of sort of like digging in and finding one that you like and doing some research. Um, the one, there's a product that I use, or I have used it before, and I've suggested to just certain people if they've been getting pain or struggling with sleep because they're in pain, is a product by Medterra called Good Night. So good Medterra Good Night. It's got CBD, it's got a little bit of kava, it's got ashwagandha, which helps with cortisol. It's got some different things. It's got some magnesium in there. It's got a little bit of melatonin in there as well. So though that combination of things, in my experience, for people that are in pain, can be quite useful. So I would say those two things first off. Now, when it comes to trying to reduce down the pain of the injury by accelerating the healing, there's a whole world called peptide therapy. And so obviously you'd need to speak to the right type of practitioner on this, but there's peptides out there like BPC 157 and TB 500, which are essentially amino acid chains. It's like a blueprint. And so the BPC 157, you can take it orally, but it's usually administered via a little subcutaneous injection. And it's been shown in a lot of research to really accelerate wound healing and recovery. So from that perspective, peptide therapy could be quite useful. In terms of like other painkillers, it's one of those things where I sort of I try to proceed cautiously because, like anything, there's addictive properties to anything, and so like one could argue, okay, someone who's on a lot of heavy painkillers that is really affecting the system, they might be better off using something like kratom or kava. But then those things could potentially have their challenges and their problems too. So it's one of those things where you could use those things as like a bridging tool, but you would probably want to wean yourself. Like, say, for instance, if I could give you a hypothetical and someone's like in a ton of pain, they're on a bunch of heavy painkillers, they start maybe using like kratom or kava, which is again something you would want to moderate, but it's probably less detrimental than the pharmaceuticals. Once they've got used to that, they could then maybe wean over to like Medterra Good Night using the peptides, and then eventually maybe just use some CBD. And so they go through a transition, basically, like a bunch of bridging tools from like incredible pain to less pain to less pain to less pain to no pain. So I do think that's really important. And the last thing is, like I said, man, just make sure that your diet's really rich with different phytonutrients, lots of colored vegetables, lots of antioxidant rich foods, lots of anti-inflammatory foods. Really keep processed sugars, processed foods to a minimum, eliminate alcohol. Make sure you're drinking some good herbal teas, move your body, get sun exposure, sauna, get some cold, get some massages. Like, there's a lot of things people can do. And what I would tell you is, don't feel like you have to do everything at once. Like, it can be overwhelming. You'd be like, oh my God, like this, I'm going to end up spending like all my money on like just therapy and stuff. Just pick a couple of things and do them consistently. But I'm telling you, like, I've seen people with all kinds of challenges, from like cancers to various injuries that were just very challenging. And I've seen them walk through and overcome these things. And like, I mean, you're a good example of that with your neck issues, that you were in so much pain and it was debilitating. And even at this point, you probably have to manage it sometimes, but it's probably dramatically better than what it was. And so, firsthand that healing and recovery is possible.
Yeah.
And so
I did
you
a
got
lot
to,
of the things that you mentioned, like, and
yeah,
I just had it like act up this last week on me. So yeah, it's
yeah,
something that I actively deal with, but I can go 6 month
Yeah,
stretches and be perfectly fine now. Where I had a period of 2 years, I couldn't even work out, swing a golf club,
yeah,
couldn't do
yeah,
anything at all because if I did, it would
yeah,
aggravate it. So yeah,
yeah.
chiropractor, massage.
I would
Yeah,
say acupuncture can be quite useful as well. It's
didn't
more of an
work.
Eastern therapy, but it does have its validity.
That one didn't work for me as much
Yeah,
as the chiropractic care and massage
yeah,
work did because I had herniated discs.
yeah,
And I mean, everybody's different, but that's why
yeah,
you
yeah,
you named off so much different things. Because if you try one with
yeah,
consistency, it doesn't work.
yeah.
Go back, listen to it again, and then figure out what might work for you. Because
And
everybody's
and
gonna be different.
one last thing I wanted to mention is, you sort of talked about the herniated discs and those types of things. So think about this: like if you're dealing with something that involves like collagen or like some type of disc, you want to make sure that you're adding things in that help with collagen synthesis and collagen production. Things like vitamin C, for instance, is one. So, and glycine. So you want to search healthy foods high in glycine or add in a glycine supplement. There's collagen producing peptides that you can take. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to help with collagen production and collagen synthesis alongside all the stuff you're doing to make sure that all your discs and stuff are getting the substrate they need to repair. So just think about it in terms of, what are the things that your body needs to regenerate certain tissue, and what foods or supplements create those things. Add those into your diet. And I promise you, if you do it, you got to do it consistently though. It's going to be the one thing that you do like, once a month. If you brush your teeth once a month, you're still going to eat cavities. It's got to be a daily practice, right? So this type of stuff, when you make it a daily practice, man, it can be life changing. I'm an example of that with the psychological stuff with the medications. You make these things a daily practice. Half the things you thought were a true story about yourself were just a narrative that you were told and you believed it at the time, and you
Mhm.
can reinvent that and rewrite that story.
So this has been phenomenal. First off, so
Thank you,
thank you
man.
for joining me and going
Absolutely.
going down this rabbit hole of everything mindset, fitness, diet, nutrition, so on and so forth. We'll leave links to everything in the YouTube video.
Sounds
So
good.
where can everybody find you? And
Yeah.
then I saw here that you have your new Superhuman think tank coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
So
exactly is that, and how could somebody get involved if they want to?
yeah, so if you just, first of all, if you just find me on Facebook, Fraser Bayley, or Instagram at Fraser Bayley. We have some business pages, but I focus more on my personal brand stuff right now. Um, and the Superhuman Think Tank, I'm opening it up probably this week. And so if you just search Superhuman Think Tank or you message me on Facebook, I can send you the link for that. And that's just going to be everything that I teach, is everything I talk about. I'm going to add more value in there because obviously with algorithms and what I post on social media, I don't want to post like too much stuff out there because a lot of people may not be interested in all the different things. But for anyone who's interested in, all the stuff we've talked about and optimizing and just tapping into that superhuman 2.0 version of yourself, that's going to be the place where I'm going to share a lot of the nuggets. So that's where you'd find me.
Awesome, man. Well, appreciate you. You have any other
Absolute
last
pleasure.
words or?
That's it, man. This was an absolute pleasure. And, I hope that your audience gets a bunch of value out of this. And I hope that you got some value out of it as
Oh,
well, buddy.
I definitely did. So I appreciate
Cool.
it.